contemplate how something like that can happen. You can show up to Brazil 139 or 140 pounds. I mean, how is that? I mean, you're not going to make it, right? I mean, so I don't really understand that one, other than you either didn't care, you had an injury, or you're cheating. It's only one of the three, or some combination of them, I suppose. But in terms of the larger issue, what she should do is, or what the UFC should do is, again, you got to be real careful about trying to make people cut weight when they can't, or forcing people to cut weight because they don't want to get some financial penalty, and then they go through these absurd amounts of weight draining. Her next fight has to be at 125, right? I think we would all agree with that, and then we can make a decision after that from there. But in terms of the weight, I have to say I'm being slowly persuaded by this. I'm being slowly persuaded that, 4 or 5 pounds, especially at 115 pounds, forget 7, man, that's a major advantage. That's a major advantage, right? We're talking about thinking about Kevin Lee and Edson Barboza, and what did he say about that head kick? He wasn't dialed in for just a second, and boom, he got hit with that heavy shot and had to rebound. Like, this is a sport where you got to be all in all the time. That's hard to do, but you really need to be focused and in on it, and any kind of difference between that, whether or any kind of deviation from that, I should say, and bad things happen to you, right? So that's how close a lot of these fights are. That's how close a lot of these fighters are in ability, and that's how dangerous this game can be. So you give somebody a 4, 5, 6, 7, and really it's an 8-pound advantage because she was only 2 away from the other one. 7 off the 1-pound spot. Man, that is unconscionable. It's unconscionable how somebody that good can make use of that. I wouldn't have mind. I honestly, if the UFC had called the fight off, I'd have been okay with it. I realized that would have been not good for business, and maybe would have angered some people who thought maybe Amanda would have had a good shot, or maybe Amanda wouldn't want it. I recognize that she wanted it, but I have to say, at some point you have to ask. Like, is this now unfair? Like, no fight is ever totally fair. People are going to have different abilities and hidden injuries, or not be dialed in, or didn't have a good camp, or just wasn't on that day, or whatever. So it's never equal, but you try to get it reasonably in the same space. And if you detect any part of that isn't in alignment, do you have a responsibility to stop it? You might, man. You might. Like, that is really, really bad.